No, this is the third, fourth place match, isn't it? Is it?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, which does matter. So don't get yourselves in a twist. And it is now 1-0 to Wallace against the famed, the great TTF. So let's see if we can turn this around in game number 2.
Here we go.
All right.
At the top left position as the orange Protoss, we have Mr. Wallace. At the bottom right position as the Teal Terran, we have Pani Dranka, aka TTF.
Yes, indeed we do. I don't know why I recognised Penny Dranker's name. I guess he's been playing under that AKA in some kind of tournament, some kind of other tournament where I've seen him, because instinctively I thought he was a good player.
Ah.
Even
Elegant just knows. You just know who's the good players. It's your Broodor sense.
There are no Smurfs, guys.
Dude, it's like in DBZ, you know, like if you're a strong character, you can sense how strong other characters are. Just like by being near them, you're like, oh my, you know, there's like the aura of power. It's kind of like that.
It is.
You just sense this power level, man.
I wish I had a similar power level. I'd love that. Then I could cast myself. And just be super egotistical. Actually, no, that would make me late for like every cast, because we always end up casting.
Exactly.
Like, still being played.
It would make you late, and also know the results of the games.
Yeah, exactly. You'd be like, okay, Elegant's still playing, so he's going to be a little bit late, and everyone would be like, oh, well, obviously we know what's happening. It would just be instant spoiler.
Yeah.
Good thing I'm not actually all that good. Otherwise, I wouldn't be such.
See, guys, the only reason that we limit ourselves to only being like C-ranked players is because we don't want to spoil the tournaments for you guys. See, because like
another sacrifice.
We're actually like, you know, we could actually be A- level if we wanted. We just choose to be casters. See, that's how it is.
We sit here all day in our English places, roasting hot, desperate to play Brood War, and not doing so just for you guys.
Exactly.
It's a hard life, and we only get paid like 500k a year by Team Liquid for doing this. So
yeah, the esports dollars are real.
Yeah, I hope you appreciate that. It's a tough life. We have the scout going straight for the bottom right-hand corner. Hack scout from Wallace right now, and he's not going to be blocked out of the base, so he's going to get in there and get a good peek at everything that's going on inside TTF space. Let's see if we've got any more shenanigans coming out of in this game.
Well, if I was TTF, I'd be kind of sad about this because, I mean, he went through all the trouble of making a wall, which, like, not many people do anymore in TVP, and the perk's still going to get in, so it's like, damn, that kind of sucks. And they were even cross-map, too, so it was, like, even less likely that this would happen.
Yeah.
But it does get in. Oh,
he's doing a bit baffled.
He's doing the fancy micro.
So he's not doing it very well. He's
wrecked! Oh my god. That was not even close. SCV just walking away with 15 HP, just like, what?
Oh god, don't do it if you haven't got the moves to back it up. Just, damn it, Wallace. You get the scouts and you do some kind of weird cross position thing and then bin it. He didn't even see if there was any kind of tooth-pack action happening.
Yep.
That is sad times. It doesn't look like he's doing anything particularly wild. I'm curious to know why he did scout cross position. Usually you do it if your strategy in some way depends on knowing whether your opponent is far or close. But maybe we won't know because maybe we won't see what he would have done if it would have been close. So.
Yeah, I think like I would have been happy if maybe he pulled one guy off gas and then went for a 1-gate expand or something upon seeing that they're cross positions. Like that seems like a pretty reasonable thing to do and a good reason to scout cross map. Maybe he doesn't want to necessarily do that because the SCV got into his base, so he doesn't want to reveal that. But he could do that now that he's going to kill it. So that SCV's gone, so now we can see potentially what he was planning. In the meantime, by the way, we did have 2 guys pulled off gas for a little wall, so it looks like it is going to be a fast expand here for TTF. Maybe he just made the wall to be super duper safe. Wasn't sure if Wallace was going to cheese him, considering Wallace already did the proxy Reaver.
Yeah, I guess so. I think
also, this is going for a wall is actually pretty standard if you're going for a siege expand, especially in Fighting Spirit, where you can just like put the tank right here on the edge of the cliff. So, I think I'm going to guess that he's going to go siege mode first.
Yeah, I think so. Kind of bring out the old school goodness. Yeah, he's got a siege tank coming in. Playing this nice and safe right now. Once it's about a third of the way up, it's all looking good. Meanwhile, yeah, we do have a nexus happening for Wallace. So, like you said, it would be nice to take one probe off the gas, but you know, it's not catastrophic, especially at this level. You don't need the extra minerals quite that badly, generally.
Indeed, indeed, and it looks like I was right. It is in fact going to be siege mode first. So doing a slightly more old school build, and that's completely fine. The thing is, right, old school also, it's not just old school, but this is also a safer opening in TVP.
Yeah.
It's actually like it's easier to pull off, and it's definitely safer than just going for an FD. Maybe not necessarily safer if you have really good micro and mechanics, but it's just kind of like very solid, like, you know, defensive build where you're pretty much guaranteed to get that expo up unless somehow he loses his tank right here.
Well, it's actually Wallace just got a few lucky shots right there, and he was able to take like half the health off that siege tank all in one go, but there's a second siege tank now. And so yeah, it's going to be nice and safe for TTF. He's going to be able to siege up right now, and he's got a great position, obviously, a great defensive position. And Wallace, there's going to be no inroads right here. He's going up to 3 gateways now, so I guess he's pretty set on sticking on 2 bases for quite a long time. He's got a robo coming in now as well. Usually, you wouldn't make 3 gateways unless you were going to stick on 2 bases for a decent amount of time. Otherwise, you'd basically just go for the 3rd.
Yeah, this is. I mean, this is also a safe thing to do from Wallace's side. You know, sometimes you see greedy Protosses go for a faster 3rd, but going for the Nexus and then a couple of extra gateways and your Robo and Observers is absolutely fine and safe thing against pretty much any kind of Terran opening. So both players really playing it safe here. I guess perhaps showing the importance of the match. They don't want to throw it away in a silly fashion. You know, they don't want to leave it up to chance in case the other guy's cheesing or not. In the meantime, looks like we're seeing some good turret placement here. 1 turret covering the natural, 1 just covering this potential drop point inside, and I guess gonna build 1 here. Yeah, there he is, gonna cover the main. So that is all well and good.
Yeah, it's pretty watertight stuff so far from TTF, but Wallace not really pushing it in any way, not being too ridiculously aggressive, nothing crazy. He does have a probe heading down to the 6 o'clock position now, but I guess that's just going to be for scouting purposes, just in case TTF tries a little bit of cheeky second expansion action down on the 6 o'clock, which he doesn't know about. And Wallace is still showing no signs of any real tech. I'm surprised we don't have a Citadel coming in yet. We usually expect to see it around about now, because otherwise that Arbiter tech tends to get a little bit on the late side, and isn't as useful as it could be.
Yeah, I agree. This is a pretty normal time, especially considering he started Zealot production. You typically don't even start Zealot production until after you've at least started upgrading Zealot leg speed, because slow Zealots in the mid to late game, PvT, are basically useless. They'll just get mown down before they can actually get anywhere. So unless you're like gonna put them into shuttle or something, which he could. He's actually building a shuttle, so I guess he's just he's only gonna make the 3 Zealots, go for the shuttle, and maybe try something here.
I quite like this as a 3rd base prevention technique. But however, he is going to sacrifice the Observer. He's going to get in there. He's going to see a bunch more factories going up, so that'll alert him to exactly what TTF is doing. So he's got a Citadel of Adun coming in, so it's going to be a little while before he goes for that 3rd base. He's going to want to stick with a good few gateways, maybe get speeds out of tech as well, but yeah, probably speeds out of tech too. Yeah, there we go. Another gateway going down, just so he can really kind of knock this one out the park. Because it can be really decisive if you can thrash back that 5 fact push. If you can really do some serious damage to the Terran army, then it can be rough times for the Terran.
It's really funny because I think actually, as soon as I said that it was weird he's building Zealots before speed, I realized what you said right after, which was that this is basically a 3rd base denial move where if he sees a Terran going for a fast 3rd, which is so popular on FS, especially given the safe opening TTFs went for, the siege expand, made it look like he was going for that kind of, you know, slower paced, fast expansion type strategy. Yeah, so this shuttle was supposed to counter that, but instead it's actually going to be really useful in stopping this 5-pact actually. And wait, is he getting oh yeah, he's going 2 base arbiter. All right,
there we go. So his 3rd base though in this scenario is going to be really very, very late.
Yep.
So he needs to do some good stuff with the army he's produced right now. He can't afford to be blasé about it. He has to make it work for him really, really nicely, because that 3rd base, like I said, is going to be a long time behind what it would have otherwise been. So he has to really make it count, and he needs to get some map presence right now as well, because the closer that Terran gets to him before he starts to head him off, then the less effective that army is going to be. But he does have an observer out there, so he will see that the Terran is now considering pushing out. So TTF going to get a little bit of map presence before Wallace comes down on him.
It's really interesting. There's only 1 machine shop on these 5 factories. I would have expected at least 2. So he's going to be super duper vulture heavy, although he did start his tank production and just basically, I guess, keep going non-stop, because he somehow has actually a lot of siege tanks, considering that he only has 1 machine shop.
It's reinforcements that'll be the real trouble though, because if he can't lose any of these siege tanks, because there's no way he can rebuild them. He's just like trickling them out at a snail's pace. He does have the extra gas. I don't know why he doesn't commit to another machine shop.
Yeah, it's a little bit weird. I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea what he's doing. I mean, it's not even like he's getting a starport yet or anything like that, so I'm not sure what the gas is for. In the meantime, Vulture's going to the 12 o'clock, gonna get walled out here. There's a goon behind, so not really much they can do. I think they're gonna see actually that the Nexus isn't quite done yet, so he knows actually that he's still in pretty good shape. I mean, generally the Protoss wants to stay ahead of Terran on expansion, so the fact that Terran 3rd is just starting now is absolutely fine. I think he's actually happy that Nexus wasn't finished faster.
I think that that Wallace is being incredibly conservative with his army though. He could be doing a little bit better on the goon count, but now he can take those Dragoons out of his third base. He does not need to be leaving them there, and he can do a bit of wandering around. He can clear out these mines. You know, he can just really deny map vision to TTF, because right now TTF, even though he's kind of got an inferior army, he doesn't really fear anything because Wallace is just so far away. He's just running around with vultures all he likes. And he's not really being prevented from doing anything at this point, which I feel is a real mistake on Wallace's part. And Wallace could even have made a good go of preventing this third base. He's got a shuttle, he's got a good speed lock count, or rather he should have a good speed lock count. He doesn't actually seem to have any. He's just produced another round of Dragoons, weirdly. So I think he could have done a bit more about this. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, I don't know if this is just being too passive or just being really safe or something, but yeah, he's letting, but both of them are just kind of letting each other do whatever they want. I mean, yeah, there's been a bit of random vultures poking around, but really not too much until now, because this is the first big move out. Is this going to coincide with an upgrade? No, he's not actually waiting for his +1 attack. I think he should actually wait like another 20 seconds and let his +1 finish. That would be a pretty nice timing. But he's just going to go for it. Let's see, 127 supply against 143, so pretty even.
Yeah, that's not too bad. Not too bad for a Terran. And here he goes now. He's got a really nice siege tank line right there behind those mines. Really, really nice kind of defensive position. If Wallace had decided to go in right there, it would have been foolhardy, I feel, for the process to engage at that point. This is a nice position right now for TTF, and this is the problem Wallace faces, that he wasn't kind of active enough with his army outside TTF's main, and wasn't able to prevent it from getting it, because this is really tough. That there's very little flanking opportunity right now for Wallace. He basically has to go flat on the Terran line with a whole bunch of mines laying down. Not cool for Protoss at all.
Yeah, this was a pretty big mistake to let Terran just walk over here and set up this position. He absolutely should have been harassing the Terran, or, you know, at least just trying to delay him slightly to get that Arbiter up, because his Arbiter actually just came out, but it just doesn't have enough energy. He needs 25 more energy to get a stasis off. So that could be the key here. He might be waiting for that. He needs another 20 energy, but if he keeps waiting, though, he's going to lose his forge with his own upgrade. And oh my god, that could be actually huge. That's his +1 upgrade right there. It's not going to finish, I don't think. It's going to be very, very close.
He doesn't have vision. He doesn't have vision.
There's no vision.
Oh, damn, he needs vision right now. He needs to take forward. It's going to finish, right? It's going to finish. God.
Wow.
Happens. +1 is in. Damn, that didn't need to happen at all. He just lost vision. Unfortunately, he's just splashing his own vultures a little bit at a time, and eventually they did go down. He's going to get that third base, though, so that does land Wallace in a pretty bad position. And really, TTF hasn't had to do much to put Wallace in that position. Wallace kind of put himself in that position just with kind of poor army positioning. He needed to be much more active than he was, so now he's got to try and get a third base up over the left-hand side. But this has been a resounding success for TTF. He's just waltzed out there, and now he can waltz on back again.
He's going to have to engage. The stasis is ready. He's going in. The stasis on the back tanks. But where are the Zealots? The Zealots are in the back. The Zealots were not part of this attack. The engagement is poorly timed, although he is going to drop some Zealots on the back line of tanks. Is it going to be enough? Most of the goons have already melted, but it looks like he might be able to clean up the army. He is going to be able to clean up the Terran right here, despite a pretty questionable engagement there. He does have enough stuff. I think it might be because TTF wasn't reinforcing. Look at how many tanks are back at his natural. He did not reinforce with everything he had. And so that weakened this force, and he was also sort of repositioning when the Protoss attacked. That might be why Wallace just decided to go for it, even though his Zealots were slightly out of position, because he saw the tanks on siege. So bit of a victory here for Protoss, but he needs to do something though, because he's still a base behind.
Yeah, it's not too uncommon for that to happen for a Terran. It's obviously not ideal for him to lose that whole force out there. He really wouldn't have wanted that to happen, but it's not too uncommon for him not to reinforce that. I think he was just kind of hoping he'd be able to walk it home, and that Wallace wouldn't quite have the guts to engage him, but Wallace did, of course, have the guts, and he did have the stuff to back it up, so he was able to take out that Terran army there. But still, like you say, Wallace only on 2 bases. It's not a hugely strong position for him.
Interestingly, though, the saturation on the Terran's 3 bases is not that high. It looks like TTF's been slacking slightly in the SCV production. It looks like he's made a few more SCVs now, but when I checked just now, he had actually very few SCVs, particularly on his third. Meanwhile, there's like a million probes on the main gas of the Protoss that are just not mining minerals.
He can't do it! He can't do it! He cannot get this right.
I mean, to be fair, at least in this case, it's because they ran from the 12, but yeah, Wallace and his gas mining.
Dear me, I just accidentally also threw water on one of myself. I'm so confused.
Elegant was just so frustrated by the gas mining, he couldn't handle it anymore.
Yeah, half a glass of water, man. It's amazing, when it's in the glass it doesn't look so much, but then when it's down the front of your t-shirt it suddenly seems like a hell of a lot of water, but that's okay, because...
Yeah, that guy's Elegant's got his t-shirt all wet. It's like Elegant gone wild.
That's exactly what it's like. I should just start filming myself while I do these casts. I bet there would be at least one ridiculous moment per cast that I could post afterwards, just for like an Easter egg.
Dude, you definitely should. We need some more female viewers, man. You know how many girl viewers we get if we just had your webcam with the wet t-shirt? Man, we need to do this right now. Seriously, we need more fangirls on this stream.
Can the one kind of female fan in here right now, if there is even one, tell us if that's something that may or may not be appealing to womankind, just so we can get a handle on the idea.
Look, I'm gonna put your Skype just on the stream. Look at this guy. Surely, ladies, you want to see this guy in a wet shirt.
Oh, you're just embarrassing me now. Take me off.
All right. I got you.
Hopefully there are no actual women in here. Fortunately, the chances are pretty slim.
What do you mean, hopefully not?
Oh, because I don't want to be
Wait, recall!
And he's recalled the full energy arbiter in there as well, which is not good times. And a shuttle containing one single Dragoon. So that was bad times for some units, but that's going to do catastrophic damage to the base. He's not going to be able to get the CC, I don't think, unless he starts chasing it down right away with his Dragoons. And TTF should be able to defend this fairly cleanly. It always looks bad, but as long as the CC doesn't go down, it's not too catastrophic. And TTF should be alright to deal with this, especially since that other arbiter went down in the process. Which means he can't just follow up with another big recall. And I don't know if that was the best idea right now for Wallace, because he hasn't really got the capability to rebuild in particularly quick fashion.
Oh, but it looks like we're going to have a big counterattack here. He knows that he's just cleaned up a decent portion of the Protoss army, so he's going to finish that off and then go for a counter. Although, like, part of his army is going for the counter and part is going to the 6 o'clock, so I'm not sure what's going on there. Really needs to just take care of the business over here, the 6, and go for the big counterattack, because this, right after recall, is actually when the Protoss is generally weakest, because they've obviously sacrificed, you know, 2 control groups of units to do the recall that presumably would be dead. So, you know, as long as you haven't taken too many losses on your forces, you should go for a counter and try and make something happen.
Yeah.
And here we go. He's going right now. Looks like he can't quite decide which way he wants to go, though.
As long as he goes just one way or the other and not try to do both. But Wallace is looking ready for this engagement. He's really spoiling for a fight right here. He comes in a little bit of a conga line, though. He could lose quite a lot of his zealots early on. The Science Fest is getting a bit out of position. A lot of his zealots are now melting, leaving just mainly Dragoons. And Wallace, I think he's getting a little bit ahead of himself right here, but can he make it count? Big stasis going down all over the units of TTF, and Wallace might be able to push all the way through. A couple more siege chains coming in, but I'm not sure if it's going to be quite enough. The Dragoons are pushing on, but Wallace, I think, choosing the right moment to disengage right there and pulls all the way back after a fairly decent battle, and took the spearhead off TTF's attack.
Yeah, the thing is, I mean, that was, I think, completely reasonable by Wallace. Generally, the way you engage in PvT, you go in with all your Zealots and Goons. Once the Zealot line melts, then you back off with your Goons and save them, because the Zealots are so much more easier to reproduce. And once you've traded away the front lines, generally the Terran will be trading away his Vulture screen against your Zealot screen. And if you have pure Goons against pure tanks are going to be so ridiculously efficient that even if you think you have an advantage, oftentimes you're just going to get melted. So it's generally better to be safe and just back off with your Goons. Meanwhile, though, we do have some nice Vulture harass here at the 9 o'clock. There are 2 cannons, but they're not quite covering the minerals.
No, not quite. That sort of thing happens all the time. Very annoying for a Protoss player. But reinforcements coming in from Wallace means that that little harass... Oh, it's got a siege tank in there as well. Who's prepared to really make a a kind of a little proper harassing after that, but he's forced back. Big army there coming in from Wallace to clean it up, not messing around with this. And it looks like once again Wallace is in actually now a very dominating position. I don't know if saying very before dominating is necessary. It just felt like it needed to happen. He's got 4 bases now, one of them mined out, but he's getting a 5th base up the top right hand side as well. TTF running some vultures in there though, and he might actually be able to prevent that for a short while, which is highly necessary.
That's actually really annoying. Funnily enough, there was actually a mine here that was presumably supposed to block that Nexus, but seems to be slightly out of position. But you see, the thing is, if Wallace had built his Nexus 1 hex lower, further away from the gas, it would have been blocked. So it's possible that this mine actually let Wallace build his Nexus in the correct position.
Wallace getting super lucky right there with his spider mine. Sorry to cut you off there, Mr.
That's alright.
But I thought there was going to be some epic mine hit action, blue goo everywhere. Well, it's not the case.
It was indeed not. Looks like, oh, by the way, there are a few idle SCVs in the main. The minerals there being mined out. There is also only a single armory still for the Terran, so that's actually why he hasn't actually got any armor upgrades yet. He's at 2-0 on his tanks, whereas the Protoss is already on 2-1. Not very often that you see a Protoss out-upgrade a Terran, although I think this is the second time we've seen it today.
We got Dragoons coming in here with no ops backup. They're going to be turned into goo very, very rapidly. Boom! There we go. That's what we like to see. And yeah, I feel like TTF's being way too slow with those upgrades, truth be told. He needs to have 2 armories in right now to keep his army competitive. He really does. Oh! Bit of an arbiter mistake there.
Yep, just totally caught that one. That was pretty weird. No idea what that guy was doing. By the way, also, there are no zealots on the map.
Boom,
there are only Dragoons in this army. I have no idea why. Finally, a few zealots come out of the gateways, but there are virtually no zealots in this composition. I don't really understand.
I don't know if he's trying to do this in order to combat a very tank-heavy composition, but honestly, that's not even going to work, because you can just siege up. In order to combat a really tank-heavy composition, you've got to have spells. Spells are what it is. Oh, that was a big EMP right there, catching that entire Dragoon group and the Arbiter. That is epic stuff. That is a weak bunch of goons right now. TTF could probably just waltz on through them, and he might in fact do just that. All his tanks are unsieging, and this is a bad position for Wallace to be in. He needs spells, he needs units, he needs something to deal with the siege tank army.
We have another also 165 energy arbiter at the bottom left, although it's going to get spotted by a vulture. Potential recall here. If you can actually recall it just to stop the Terran from moving out, that could potentially be very beneficial. Especially since right now he doesn't really want to engage, I don't think. And here we go. He's going in.
There, though. We've got a science vessel.
EMP!
Really see it in time.
EMP! EMP! Recall!
Didn't happen, man. Big recall goes in, and he's definitely going to get the CC this time. There is going to be no saving it. Units are far away. There is no help. Losing so many observers in that, but CC's going to go down. TTF just coming straight back in with the counterattack. He's not even messing around trying to save his 3rd base. He's kind of all in on this one at this point, because he's now not mining at all, and I don't see how that can end particularly well for him. His army is strong, but it's not all that strong, especially given that recalled army is going to be able to get straight back out of there and back into action.
Yeah, he's at 46, okay, 110 minerals right now. Actually, wait, where is minerals coming from? Oh, I guess some SCVs return minerals from the 3rd. But as you say, no mining base right now. Effectively all in on this army. And here we go. How effective is it going to be? He's at 150 supply against the max Protoss. Here we go. He's moving into the natural. He's got a good position. The Protoss was not quite ready. A lot of the units from the recall are streaming in from the backside, while the rest of the army gets taken down in the front. But there's not that many zealots or vultures, but it doesn't really matter. Everything getting melted in the front. Meanwhile, more armies flanking from the side is enough. Zealots closing with his siege tanks. It looks like a random stasis on vultures, but it might just be enough here. The Protoss is gonna be enough, and that is the end for TTF.
Absolutely, that does it for our Terran player. His army is finally completely destroyed. He's still losing SCVs to 2 Dragoons, which somehow remain from that recall force. Wallace just cleaning it up, and GG comes in. Nice.
And Wallace takes down TTF 2-0 to take the 3rd place match, so he will qualify for the Brood War Open Heat Tournament. Awesome.
Awesome.
I'm going to make sure to PM him on TL and tell him to build his nexuses closer to the gases.
Do it, please. that just hurts me. That's almost as bad as all the run buys in TLS. That needs to stop now. Early on, just nip it in the bud.
There you go, guys. Mulligan has declared it so. No more run buys in TLS.
No more easy run buys, because that's just how Zergs squeeze through to the final every time. Run by. Run by. Oh,
all right. So, we have an update from our producer, Mr. Tupacalypse, who says that the finals of Qualifier 2 actually weren't played yet, which is fine because they don't actually decide anything. Both players qualify anyway.
Yep.
Apparently, the 3 players. So we can just announce the 3 players who advanced. They are in fact none other than Siki, KYCT, and Wallace. Of course, we saw KYCT already advance to the finals, so he qualifies. And Wallace, of course, from this match, and apparently Siki on the other side of the bracket. And I believe yesterday the qualifiers were Scan 0, and I don't actually know who was 3rd. If Tupac can just tell me, that would be awesome.
Which he didn't do earlier in the day.
No.
So, producer duties. Pretty disappointing.
You're fired, Tupac.
Yeah, although that'd be a lot easier for anyone.
I'm just kidding. Please, you're definitely not fired.
Don't ever give us the power to do that kind of crap.
We could do nothing without Mr. Tupac.
Yeah. We just sit around saying, where's Tupacalypse?
Apparently it was Eon Zerg,
Okay.
who is the 3rd one.
That doesn't sound like a lie, that sounds realistic.
It does indeed.
So yeah, that's the 6. So
Wait, that's cool. So that means that so far we have 2 Protoss, 3 Zerg, and a Terran. So decent balanced.
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a good balance actually.
Yeah.
So we still have a couple more to go, and hopefully that balance is maintained. We don't just get a whole glut of Zergs or Protoss. I would say Terran